All right. Well, welcome everybody. I want to take a moment to welcome our guest speaker tonight, Doug Sandler. He's the guru in customer service. Doug has over 30 years of experience as an entrepreneur and a leader. His book, Nice Guys Finish First, is a #1 ranked Amazon bestseller, and he specializes in teaching others the how-tos of building relationships and strengthening connections. He is a nationally recognized speaker and writer and has been included in the top 100 of social media thought influencers to follow. So please, Doug, take it away.
All right. Thank you, Pat. Thank you so very much, and everybody that's on the line. Pat, before you step out of the microphone, do me a favor. Can you give me just a roundabout idea of about how many people that we have and just what regions of the country we're dealing with?
Sure. Right now we are at 16 participants on the audio, and we have 11 on the video, so I'm not sure what that's about. But we kind of represent all areas. We've got Chicago, D.C. is recognized. I heard somebody from Arizona came up. So basically all of our chapters are Minnesota, Chicago, D.C., Nevada, and Arizona, and then we have some at-large members. I know Kim is here from Houston. Madali is here from Utah. Let's see who else I know here. I see some Nevada people on the line here.
And that's great.
Local Minneapolis people. So we got quite a spectrum.
A good representation from all over the country. And last night I was very fortunate to present to the NCA chapter in D.C. and found out some great information about just, I guess, a recent conference that you all had in Chicago. And is that where everybody went, or was that just a portion of your group went there?
That was where our annual conference was this year. Yes,
that's
exactly.
Great. That's great. So I heard a lot of positive feedback about that. I love hearing about the relationships that are built. A number of people that were at the meeting last night had expressed, and just so you know, this actually is a part of the presentation because relationship building is obviously in the business that we're all in is paramount. So I spend just a moment talking about that because in listening in some of the pre-chatter before I actually started talking last night to the chapter there, what was so amazing was the camaraderie that was built. And one of the gentlemen that was in the meeting, I think his name was Michael, was talking about the fact that he didn't even one of the biggest components of the chapter of the conference was the after and the before networking. And while the classes and the education, I'm sure, were wonderful, we all know that you don't do most of your networking and relationship building in educational sessions. You do that before and after, and the trips that you take and the people that you see. So really, that's kind of where I wanted to start. And Pat will know this just from knowing me for a very short period of time. Technology is totally not my friend, but fortunately, Pat has her hand on the button to advance all the slides. Otherwise, I would have done this presentation via fax, and we would have taken a little bit longer to try to figure this all out. So the title of tonight's program, and I'm going to do my best not to read the slides because they are right in front of me, so it makes it very easy for me to read them. But you guys can read the stuff that's in front of you. But just to give you the idea of the program, it's up in a way, super service that lasts a lifetime. How to be really a customer service superhero, and that's what we're going to spend about the next, I think Pat said 4 or 5 hours. So we'll be nothing major. Now we'll spend a very short period of time talking about some of the things that I prepared, and then I want to open it up to questions because there's probably going to be some before we get to the end. Everybody, if you want, at some point, feel free, please. Just let me know your questions in the middle. Pat, feel free again to just stop me because I'll just roll through some of these things, not thinking that there might be a question. If there is one, just stop me and don't feel like you're being rude. I can't see any hands raised, so I don't know when people are ready to go. So how to be a customer service superhero. Okay, so we're ready to advance to the next slide, Pat. So just to give you an idea, just a small idea and a very quick 30-second commercial on who I am and what brought me here. I have a podcast called the Nice Guys on Business Podcast. We're about 210 or 215 or something like that. I lost count somewhere after over 200 plus episodes into this. I've had an opportunity to talk about customer service with some really big people in business like Arianna Huffington, like Dan Harris from Good Morning America, like Ted Rubin, who has nearly 1 million followers on Twitter. I mean, these are people that understand not only traditional business, but the business of technology that we're dealing in today. So I've had a podcast for the last couple of years. I've interviewed experts in the field. I wrote an ebook called Providing Great Customer Service, Creating an Exceptional Customer Experience. I have 21 professionals, business owners, industry leaders that helped me put that book together. And I'm happy to provide that book to you as well at the end. I'll tell you how you can get that. I wrote a book about 2 years ago that quickly, and much to my surprise, I did not realize how much people really thought that the idea of nice guys finishing first is there, but everybody always thinks nice guys finish last, so they're very curious. So the book, in about 6 weeks of time on Amazon, became a #1 bestseller in the category of customer service. And again, a little bit later on, I'll tell you how to get that. I write for this very small publication called the Huffington Post as well. I'm a HuffPost contributor. I'm a blogger. I'm a keynote speaker, and I'm a business coach as well. I'm more than happy to come out to anybody's location, especially if you're in a warm climate in a cold winter month on the East Coast. I'm happy to come anywhere that you tell me to come. We'll even make the pricing very good for you. All right, so that's just to give you an idea of who I am and why I might be qualified to talk about this subject. So Pat, if you'll just advance to the next slide for me. Okay, so it really is as simple as you too can become a superhero. I want to start with a story, just something that happened to me just a short time ago, maybe about a year ago, maybe a little bit longer ago now. I've been telling the story for, I guess, about a year now. We all know how technology really has taken over things. So I had an opportunity, the misfortune, I guess, to have a duplicate charge on my credit card. It was for $75, so it was no big deal. I called what you would traditionally call if you have a problem with your bank. And the point of my story will become clear as we get towards the end of it, but just indulge me and let me tell you the story, even though it may not fit directly into your world, but the moral of the story absolutely fits into your world. So I call an 800 number, and the first thing I'm greeted with, as we all know, is an automated voice on the other end of the phone saying, please enter your 16 digits followed by the pound sign. So I did what I was told. I entered my 16 digits followed by the pound sign. And then the operator, the automated operator, proceeds to tell me my next instruction. So I did what I thought I should do, and what we probably all want to do is I hit the 0 key because I wanted to talk to somebody. I did not want to talk to a machine. Well, the credit card companies and the big utility companies and even some of the bigger hotel chains and a lot of companies nowadays have outsmarted us, or they think they have. They've removed the 0 key as a part of talking to the operator, so you have to listen to. So I hit the 0 key, and it says what it always says. Please listen carefully as our menu options have changed. Hit the 1 key for blah, 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 hit the 2 key, and I discovered that the 3 key was actually the one that I wanted to hit. So I hit the 3 key, hoping to speak to somebody in customer service, and yet another automated system came into place. And it asked me several more questions. This one included a voice prompt by me, and I said those words that I would like to say to everybody every time you get an automated prompt: customer service. So it then catapulted me, not that I'm taking anything away from any call center, but it catapulted me a few thousand miles to a call center that I could tell in very quick order that I was greeted by a script reader. All I wanted to do was resolve the $75 obvious duplicate charge on my credit card. The problem was that the script reader didn't know that. The script reader only knew his script. So he said, Mr. Sandler, and his first question was, can you please tell me your 16-digit credit card number? Now, I had just given the automated system my credit card number, so there was really no reason I needed to, but I indulged him, and I gave him my 16-digit number. And then he asked me one level of additional security, and I could tell he was going into that script reading mode. After about 1.5 minutes of him reading his script, it probably was more like 30 seconds, but it seemed like an hour and a half. I said, I'm just calling you because of an easy thing. There was a duplicate charge. I explained the problem, and he said, Mr. Sandler, would you mind if I put you on hold for 2 minutes? Now, I thought that's unusual. Nobody has said, can I put you on hold for 2 minutes? But his analytics told him that it's going to take him 2 minutes to resolve the problem, so he wanted to tell me it was going to take him 2 minutes. I said, okay. He told me his name was Jerry. He comes back in about 2 minutes. He said, Mr. Sandler, I'm sorry I'm not able to honor your $75 chargeback. I said, why not? He then started to read his script again, and that little vein in my neck started to really pulse, and I could feel that I was gonna pop, and I wanted to control myself. And I said the first thing that really came to me, and this is the first time I've ever said this to an automated system or somebody that was a part of an automated system like a script reader. I said, Jerry, can you do me a favor? For the next 60 seconds, whether I win this dispute or pay the $75, which is obviously a duplicate, I said, can you do me a favor? Can you just treat me like a human being and talk to me the way one human being talks to another? So I tell you, as folks in the service industry, just like I'm in the service industry, I didn't need to go through the entire long story to exemplify, to really exaggerate the point. But the point of the story is, how often do you actually just go into your mode of knowing and routinely doing the same things that you do day in and day out? You're going to have customers that are going to, and clients and members and people that are important in your life. They're going to ask you the same questions that you've heard 1,000 times before. But if you answer the question like you've never heard the question before, you're going to be relatable to the person that you're dealing with. They're going to like you. They're going to want to ask you more questions. They're going to want to give you more information, and you're going to start developing a relationship, because that's really all superheroes are all about, is they're about relationships. So, Pat, if you'll just hit the next slide for me. Oh, by the way, just so you know, I ended up not getting the $75 back until a considerable amount of cajoling on my part, because there was based upon what the script reader was telling me, Jerry, there was a clause on the credit card agreement which said that if it took me longer than 60 days to dispute this, that they had the right not to issue me the credit. He actually quoted point, verse, page number on the credit card agreement. I looked up my credit card agreement online. It's a 72-page document, and he was actually pointing out a paragraph and a point and a subparagraph on that one page. I said, everybody that's on this call, there's 26 of you or so, anybody ever read a credit card agreement? I know I haven't. So I just thought that was funny. So from a superpowers perspective, here's the points that I just made in that story with the credit card company. Be genuine, be authentic, be driven by your customer journey. Another interesting example to set out here is, if you think about the touch points along the way, and a touch point is any time a customer, a member, a client, the people that you are, a prospective client, the people that you are dealing with in your everyday, a coworker, anybody that is actually dealing with your brand, the number of times that a customer, through this journey that they take through your brand, when they come in contact with your brand, that is a touch point. I always ask the question as I'm doing live seminars, how many touch points do you think there are along the way? And some people say, well, there's probably, 10, 15 of them. There's probably well over 100 touch points that you have the opportunity to make or break that relationship and build that relationship with that member, that customer, that prospective customer in your life. Those opportunities are opportunities called touch points, and they can either pull you closer to that person that's dealing with you or push you further away. I encourage you to recognize every step along the way for your customer journey. If you're in a hotel, or if you're in a storefront, or if you're in a place where you greet people at a desk, that touch point could be something as simple as the revolving door. It could be the double door in front. It could be the trash cans that are in your restroom. It could be any time that customer deals with you on the phone. It could be the voicemail that they get when they talk to you. It could be the cell number and the automated service that the hotel or whatever organization you're a part of has an opportunity to reach out and talk to that customer. It's everywhere along the way that that person comes in contact with your brand. The other thing that's interesting about it is, if you think about all of the people that are involved, not just you, all the people that are involved with the customer journey, the journey and that brand are far more than just you. So it's not like you are going to make or break your brand. Now, certainly you can if you do something very wrong, but you're a contributing factor to what is really going to help emphasize and build a relationship with that person and your brand. You have to make it so that it's not just a facade. It goes straight down into the wood and goes down to the foundation. If you look at purpose as your currency and not money and people over profit, and above all, be human, because being human really will be the thing that sets you apart from all those that are out there, really, because most people, unfortunately, are just kind of going through life instead of making life happen. They go through life. Be a human being, be relatable, be authentic, and be yourself, and you definitely will develop those superpowers. Okay, Pat, we're ready for the next slide. Okay, so why do customers feel removed from this process to begin with? It's obvious if I look at it from a customer service standpoint that people are hiding behind things like automated voicemail, and it's almost like when you call somebody nowadays. I didn't expect you to pick up the phone. It's like automated voicemail is the way to go. And that can't be anything other than the truth. You want to talk to your people. You want to get in contact with them. You want to build a relationship with them. So the things like 800 numbers, automated phone systems, order numbers, impersonal service, obviously script readers, social media has really helped remove people from the relationship game. And our job is to, if you think of relationships as just thin threads, our job is to, through contact and communication and proper networking, to make that thread as strong as possible. All right, Pat, we're ready to go to the next slide. Here are some pretty alarming statistics that are along the way, and think about this as these things relate to you and your business. 40% of all voicemails go unreturned. Now, one of the things I'm going to talk about in just about maybe less than 5 minutes right now is going to be some of the steps that you can take in order to become a superhero when it comes to customer service. The idea that 40% of all the emails are unreturned, I don't even understand that. It's a statistic that is true, but I don't understand it. And you think about it. Think about the last time that you made a phone call that went unreturned and how that made you feel. When I'm in front of live audiences, one of the things that I ask is, raise your hand if you've been the victim of an unreturned phone call. And, mostly everybody raises their hand. And I ask the question, how does that make you feel? And most people say, unwanted, makes me feel like I'm not important, makes me feel like, my business is not a priority to them. And then I ask the question, well, how many of you with your hands raised have not returned phone calls? And those same hands stay up in the air. So the other side of the coin is, well, we're busy. Life happens. I get a million calls a day. I can't possibly handle all the phone calls. They go into voicemail. If part of the expectation is when somebody has a phone that you're going to return a voicemail, don't have voicemail if you're not going to return the call, or if you're only going to return it half the time. It's not doing anybody a service by not returning their voicemail, and that is always one that gets a lot of questions out there. Well, what do you mean don't have a phone service? Well, you need to return your phone calls. Part of the problem is that we're so bogged down and we're so handcuffed in time management. With time management, we have so many things going on in our life that we find it challenging to do things like return all of our voicemails. One of the systems that I offer, called this Nice Guy 30 program, will teach you about how to return all your phone calls. 33% of social media complaints go unanswered. Again, ridiculous to me to think that somebody is complaining about your service and they don't get a response, but 33% of the time, social media complaints are not answered. 90% of email questions are unanswered if more than 3 questions are asked. So that means you get an email and it has 5 questions from a potential customer, a client, or a member, or somebody looking for information. You answer 3 of the 6 questions, so you left 3 of them unanswered. Well, a couple of things are going to happen. Number 1, they're going to send you another email asking you the other 3 questions. Or number 2, they're going to think that the 3 questions, the other questions that they asked, were not important. You never want the person that is sending you an email to feel like they are not important to you, even if you don't know the answer, because oftentimes I will get, well, I only knew the answer to 5 of the 6 questions immediately. The other one I might. So if you only know answers to 3 of the 6 questions, let them know either you're going to get back to them about the other 3, or tell them, can we have a chat about these other 3, or you'll figure out, what to do with those other 3 questions. But not answering the questions is not good. The next one, over 20% of client inquiries are not returned. Well, that means you have business coming in the door, potential money for the organization that you work for. If you're self-employed, you're losing business. 20% of new client inquiries do not go returned. And when surveyed, 78% of the people surveyed said they were late for an appointment in the last 30 days. Now, I'm not going to ask anybody to raise their hands, but if you're somebody that was one of those 78%, you got to fix it, because being late is disrespectful to the person that you're having an appointment with. And unless you are late and you give them plenty of notice that you're going to be late, I would say work on your time management more so than work on how are you going to contact that person and tell them that you're going to be late. Okay, I think we're ready for the next slide, Pat. So as a result of all of those statistics that I saw out there, I saw this overwhelming need to come up with a simple system that could help resolve the problems. So here are 5 steps that are fairly simple. I would say that they are fairly simple. And I'm going to put a finite amount of time on them so you don't feel like you need to do these things forever. Now, ultimately, if you create the habit, I'd like you to do them forever. But ultimately, the steps here, the 5 steps that we're going to talk about just now, are 5 steps that really have nothing to do with your business, but everything to do with your business as well, because these are the keys to maintaining proper relationships, to becoming a superhero when it comes to customer service, and really are the keys to consistency in doing these will create this successful environment for you. So step 1, return every phone call. I'll give you one off the hook, or one thing that you can skate on. You don't have to return telemarketing calls. Return every phone call. For the next 30 days, every call that you get, return. And if you put these right in front of you every day and you take care of these every day, a lot of times the other problems that are associated with your workday go away. If you return every email and you answer every question on every email, like the bottom left-hand corner, you won't have somebody sending you 2 or 3 emails about the same subject. Again, part of the only problem or the only concern with that return every email is the reply all thing does not apply here, and spam does not apply here either. So you're returning every phone call, you're returning every email. Top right-hand corner, deliver on every promise. There's a sign on my computer right in front of me. It says set unrealistic expectations and then exceed them. We as human beings have such an overwhelming desire to want to please other people that, and I'm going to say this in a way that doesn't sound probably appropriate, but this is the reality of it. Stop lying. If you are telling somebody you're going to get that proposal back to them, or you're going to return that phone call in 5 minutes, and you really don't, you're really misleading them. You're setting an expectation that you're not going to hit. If you think that you're going to get back to somebody in an hour, tell them you get back to them in 2 hours. When you get back to them in 30 minutes, you will exceed the expectation. Oftentimes, all it is a matter of how you're setting the expectation with the person that you're dealing with. So deliver on every promise. Bottom right-hand corner, be on time every time. You realize that if something starts at 11 a.m. and you show up at 11:15, you're actually late. Do your best from a time management perspective for the next 30 days to make each one of these, returning every phone call, delivering on every promise, being on time every time, and returning every email, a priority in your day. The middle one here is the one that's going to set you apart from everybody else, and it will give you that superhero status. Now here it is, and when I went over this last night, I actually had the ability to actually use this as a living example because I had people right in front of me. I wrote this post for the Huffington Post, or this blog for the Huffington Post called 24 Seconds That Will Change Your Life. And I put this out probably about 1.5 years ago. It was by far the biggest, the most widely read and shared post that I had written for HuffPost. Here's what you do. The average text message takes about 12 seconds to send out. Every day, twice a day, I want you to send out 2 text messages. So I'm asking you to invest 24 seconds because the average person, it will take them 12 seconds to send out a text message. I want you to send out a text message to somebody in your contacts that you have not spoken to in the last 30 days. All you're going to do is say the following: thinking about you, hope you're having a great day. Period, the end, and that's it. Hit send. Do that again with somebody else in your contact list. Tomorrow, do it again with 2 other people, and the next day, 2 other people, and so on for 30 days. At the end of 60 days, you will have sent out 60 text messages. Now, here's what's going to happen. One of 3 things. You're going to get back a text message from people that are going to say one of 3 things. 1, who is this? If you get that, that means you don't reach out to the people that are in your contacts nearly enough. Second thing you're going to get back is everything okay? If you get that back, that means you're only reaching out to people, and these are all very telling things, but you're going to get back something from those people that tells you that you only reach out to people in the event of an emergency. The third one, the one that's going to hit the home run, the one that's going to give you, as my son would say, give you the feels. What I want you to get back is the messages that say, hey, thanks. I wasn't having such a great day, and I got your message. We need to catch up. Let's have lunch. It's been too long. What's going on? How's your networking going? How's business going? Loved hearing from you. Now, here's what's going to happen. You do that for 30 days, you're going to create a small impact on a small amount of people's lives. You do that for 15 years, like I've been doing this, and you send out something like, I send out many more than 2 a day, but you send out 75, 80, 100,000 of these. On the days that I'm not having the best days, and there are some of those days in my life too, and there's probably some of those days in your lives as well, you're going to get text messages from people all over the world at all different times saying, hey, hope you're having a great day. Doug, what's going on? Miss you, buddy. How's your wife? How's that vacation in Disney? How you doing? Still writing for HuffPost? Anything that you get from people, it just shows that there is somebody else out there in the world and they're reaching out to you. And sometimes when you're down or not having the best day, all you need is one person to say to you, hope you're having a great day. That smile comes over your face, and then you just say, it's working. And what's working is this, because we all know that this is a business of relationships. It's not a business of business. It's all about relationships. It's the connections that you make. It's all about the people in your life. It's all about advancing yourself through bettering the relationships in your life, and that is truly what business is all about. And I've built a business over the last 30 years just on the responsibility of being a guy. I mean, I wrote a book called Nice Guys Finish First. I didn't write a business on smart guys finish first. I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I know how to return every phone call and return every email and send out text messages and deliver on every promise and to be on time. Okay, Pat, we're ready for the next slide. So here are a couple of the success tips. Every person you come in contact with, make it your priority to deliver a wow experience. Look at the idea of, look at the perspective that your customer, your member, the person that you're working with, look at them and say, what do they see? What do they see? What are they asking me this question for? What's in their head? How can I help them? How can I get so out of my space and put myself in their head and understand from their perspective what they're all about? Treat everyone like gold, the golden rule, do unto others. How would you want to be treated? You know, I walked into Kmart the other day and had a very unfortunate experience with them. I had a coupon. They rang up my charge. They didn't put in the coupon, so she said, I'm going to have to ring it up again. I said, okay, not a problem. She rang it up again. They just forgot to credit me the first time. So now on my credit card bill, this is a whole different one than the original credit card story I was telling you about. On my credit card, I had a duplicate charge or I actually had a charge that didn't include the $5, and all I'm trying to do is get this charge off of my credit card. So in dealing with the store, they couldn't care less about me. I was just a number to them, and I don't like feeling like a number, as your people in your life don't like to feel like a number either. If you keep in mind that your reputation is at stake with every transaction, every touch point along the way, I think you'll treat what you do even more seriously if you look at it and say, was this the right thing to do? And the last one, the one that I always think is the most important, is really to be a human being. Even people made of, I spelled that one wrong, but even people made of steel have hearts. And if you treat everybody like they're a human being and you're a human being too, you'll find you're well ahead of the game for sure. Okay, Pat, next slide, please. So here's where we want to take our clients. Obviously, we want to have these superheroes, the superheroes of being responsive, being empathetic, understanding what they're going through and what's going on in their life, being genuine and caring and being human and being nice. That really ultimately is what it's all about. Nice guys finish first. Okay, go on to the next slide, if you would, Pat. So as a way to try to encapsulate all of these things, so many people had said to me, well, can you really make it a little bit easier for us? You know, we have all these things that we need to remember and all these things that we need to do. Well, the Nice Guy 30 program, that's probably one of the easiest things that's out there. Well, I created this thing called the Learning Loft. My email is right up there, doug@dougsandler.com, if you have questions about anything or if you want to learn more about any of the stuff that I have. But just for your organization, I created this promo code Concierge. If you go to DougSandler.com/microlearning, and Pat will make this available to you as well. I guess there's a way that you guys can put this on your website. If you go to the microlearning, you hit the buy button, and you enter in the promo code Concierge, a $220 program goes down to, I think it's $44. My math is not so good, so 80% discount off of that. That's only good for your organization with NCA. So if you take a moment and you go again to DougSandler.com /microlearning, that will give you an idea of some of the programs that I offer. Also, if you just go to DougSandler.com, you'll have access to my podcast, my blog, and all the other things that I have to offer. So I'd like to leave a few moments here to open it up to some questions. Pat, I don't know if any came in along the way.
Nothing right now, but let's unmute everybody and we'll see. Okay. Question and answer time, guys. Anything that you want to share? I didn't get any during this session, so go ahead and feel free to ask now.
I do have a question. I send out on average about 125 emails a day. That's part of my job. I'm a lesson experience specialist. So my job is to reach out to guests prior to arrival. In theory, it is great to return every single email. I also call over 225 people in-house every day to welcome them to the hotel. I get pulled in a lot of different directions. How do you answer a question on top of everything else when you're working with so many different aspects of a hotel? I mean, I've done a pretty good job, but some days it's overwhelming. Like today, we have a 403-room property. I called 325 rooms, and then sent out 75 emails. So, I mean, I guess is 24 hours an acceptable time to respond to an email, or when you're just so overwhelmed?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I'm sorry, I didn't hear your first name.
My name's Amanda.
Amanda, that's a great question. And I get asked the question, well, how do you deal with the overwhelming stature of a lot of the things that I have going on in my life? I'm a person that's in a call center, and I get 75 calls in the course of 3 hours. How do I return 75 calls, and how do I return 125 emails, and how do I send out all of these things? And what I would tell you is you need to examine the system that you're working within. The people that are on your management team or on your team, there's got to be someone along the way that can empathize with what you're going through. And even if, as I say that, everybody is laughing, yes, there are people that understand, but there's no answers to the problem. I think there has to be a system change so that you're not overwhelmed, because part of what makes you guys so good at your job is the ability for you to be a human being and for you to be personal and for you to offer that human touch. The downside is when you have 75 emails that come in and you can only respond to 10 of them with any kind of personal touch, and 65 of them, you need to have a system that's put in place to respond to those 65, even if those 65 answers that you're responding to are more of a stock answer. I go through Zappos a lot, and oftentimes through their automated system, I have a question, and their automated system actually can sense and pick up keywords in the question that I have, and oftentimes the automated system, even though it's not personal, will address the issue that I have and respond quite nicely. So I don't mean to say that I think there should be a system change for you, but I think part of it is that there is a system issue that if you take a bigger look, or if management would take a bigger look, maybe there's a way to change what's going on within your organization. Is that a fair answer, or is that?
No, it is a fair answer. I send a lot of emails, so I know a lot of times what people are asking. So I have templates that I copy and paste and customize. So I've streamlined it over the past year and a half. But it's to personalize every single email I get, and they're asking the same question.
Yeah, the other thing that I work on a little bit, because I do receive a number of I love social media, so there's a lot of things that I do on social media. I block out times of my day that is, multitasking. I'm a guy, and as a guy, multitasking is like the bane of my existence. I can't multitask. I actually end up doing less by trying to do too many things at the same time. So I'm reading my email, I'm looking at my Facebook posts, I'm looking at my Twitter things, and none of that is working for me. If I block out a portion of my day, even if I don't need it, it's still blocked off. And if I end up finishing everything, and I go outside of that block, but if you can focus just on the things instead of having a million people reaching out to you, people get very used to your schedule if you routinely block off time for doing certain tasks in the course of your day.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Amanda, for your question.
Anyone else?
I hope I didn't put them all to sleep, Pat.
I know. I'm wondering. Either that or you were so thorough that they don't have questions. You covered it all. All right. Nobody else? No other questions?
Nope.
All right. Well, I guess that's it then. Well, thank you so much, Doug. I appreciate your time. If anybody
My pleasure.
needs any information, I can certainly pass this on to you. But as you can see by that last slide, that's his contact info. So hopefully you took it all down. And this will be available for recording or for viewing later if anybody is not able to participate today. So just keep us posted. And thank you so much.
Thank you, Pat, and thanks everybody for your
right.
time, and enjoy Hamilton. Whoever was going out to see that, enjoy the show.